are back with another episode of Middle Aged Mamas. We are here in the city of Inglewood at Camila's with Dawn and Claudine is the princess of Inglewood. The current reigning princess of Inglewood is here by to chat with us. So before we get into everything, Claudine, let's have a tiny little chat about Valentine's Day because it's coming up. Okay. And I'm so curious, after 20 years of marriage or dating or divorce, what are you guys doing now? Are you still buying gifts? What's going on?
Well, I do Valentine's Day things.
Yeah,
sometimes I invite my girls out
to
go to dinner and have a fun night out and eat and drink and all that kind of stuff.
Well, when that first came out, it was kind of a joke to me. I was like, "Are you serious?"
But I was really doing it.
Corny.
I was doing it before it was officially considered Galentine's Day.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't take on the name and text friends like "Happy Galentine's Day."
No, I was like, "You guys want to go out?"
Right.
Period.
Yeah, but the
don't
whole
tag it. That's what I'm gonna do.
No, I've never. We just do
When we
it.
go out.
You do what?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put Valentine's Day. I've never done it before. I think
No, I
Allie was
think it's
talking
a
about
title.
we should do it.
A Galentine's
fun.
Day celebration. Are you guys gonna give me a gift?
No.
The gift is me.
Right,
My
yeah.
presence is the gift.
So it's not really for just single people just celebrating your girlfriends and calling it Galentine's Day.
I say girls' night out.
It's a girls'
Right.
night out.
Because why does it always have to be about romantic love? It could be friendship love. It could be all kinds of different parts
Yeah.
of love, types of love. So
Right. That's what they say.
Well, that's the thing for me. I'm very unromantic. I'm super practical. My husband and I, initially when we got together, we talked about, so how are we going to celebrate holidays? We really wanted to manage each other's expectations. And I said, you can miss me with all the gifts and all the roses and all the flowers. Let's get this money. Let's buy this real estate. Let's invest. Let's
Practical.
businesses.
Love
Yes.
Let's do that instead.
That's the love language.
That's my love language. I am a Capricorn.
Money.
So
We have our live
audience.
Yeah.
So we don't go overboard during holidays with gifts, and we're not manipulated by mass media marketing. So we take our finances and we plan to do things that are going to give us long-term generational wealth.
Love it.
Right.
Wait, this was early on during
This
dating?
was before we got married.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So your dating life, did you, go out and have gifts and things like that, and then you just decided I don't need any of that?
No, it wasn't really like that. Like, we took a lot of time to get to know one another as far as
I was just about to
spending
ask, how
time.
long did you know him?
We didn't know each other for long, but what we did was we spent our time really talking to each other about what was important to one another and getting on the same page. We took premarital counseling classes at West Angeles Church. So we did a lot of exercises that prepared us for marriage, and I think to this day that has helped. Now here's a twist. Our firstborn daughter was born on Valentine's Day.
So that's your first
Yay.
Oh, you have the ring of fire on Valentine's Day.
This is what I said. This is so funny. I said the most unromantic person is going to have a baby on the most romantic day. And then she is the most loving type of child too. So it's all in
that's
line.
so sweet. That's sweet. Well, we're similar. We never had that full conversation of don't do this, don't do that. But I think just as you get to know your husband or your partner, you don't need to put so much pressure on making sure, oh, did you buy me a dozen roses for Valentine's? It's not that serious. You could do the 16th, 17th, I don't care. At some point, have some romance in our year. But it doesn't necessarily have to be on Valentine's
It can be any day.
Yeah. And I'm like, don't spend $100 on
Honey,
a
we
bouquet
share
of
this
roses.
money, okay?
Exactly. We don't need to do all that. So we're similar, although we didn't have that full conversation. But I see you percolating, Dawn. I see you. I see her.
I wish I could be so mature. Oh my.
You love to be showered with gifts?
Yeah. I'm real superficial and shallow. Like, you better give me some gifts.
I'm glad you
and
know
I don't
yourself.
want no random. Yeah, nah. I have broken up with him before over a bad gift. I mean, like when we were dating. Yeah.
Oh, listen.
You know,
you got a good man, Savannah.
I mean, So we've had conversations as well. We had premarital counseling as well, and pre-engagement. But part of that was, these are my expectations.
Okay.
And so, but I'm getting better because I know that I've stressed him out. I've talked about this before. I've been on gift punishment because I have also talked about that I will return some shit. Keep the receipt. Now that Amazon is here, don't just give me a bunch of random stuff from Amazon because it's going to be able to be delivered and you can just...
You want some thought put into it.
But what I do appreciate about Amazon is I can just say, did you get this stuff from Amazon? Because I'm going to return it. Because the same way, I do not want him to waste our money on randomness.
Right.
So I want it to be intentional. It doesn't have to be expensive. I don't want just like some random.
Can you give us an example of maybe like your favorite gift he's gotten you and something you really loved?
So last year on Valentine's Day, and this was me coming off punishment that I didn't know that I was on, and I talked about it before. He got tickets to a concert. We went to El DeBarge and Stephanie Mills, and that's when I learned that he was done buying me gifts because I'm too stressful and because I returned all of my Amazon Christmas gifts that couple months before. But what I appreciate and what I talk to him about is that I'm wanting experiences. I'm at the point now where I don't need a bunch of random gifts. So he knows my favorite candy. I love any kind of flowers all the time. I'll buy them for myself. But this year, I have already planned our Valentine's Day. I checked in with him because there's, where are we going? We're going to the Wiz. We're going to the Wiz.
That's gonna be fun. Nice.
So I saw that the Wiz was coming up and they had tickets on Valentine's Day. So I reached out to him. I think I sent him a text. Maybe he was at work. And I said, hey, have you already made plans for us for Valentine's Day? Because let's go to the Wiz. And he's like, okay, well, I've made reservations for dinner and I will, I'll cancel the reservations. So I'm not the type that I don't expect him to just do everything. I will be involved. And because I'm a bit controlling, I will also plan it all. And you can just show up and look good and smell good and, have a, he does get me beautiful, thoughtful cards. The most, and that's what I mean. Like, I want something. It doesn't have to be, I don't need expensive jewelry and all that stuff. Like, I have enough and I can only wear so much. But I do want it to be thoughtful. I want it to be intentional. I do not want like flowers delivered because that's so expensive. And when they get there, I could have gotten something better from Trader Joe's, so it's not that I'm just this spoiled little princess. I want it to be thoughtful. I want it to be intentional. And sometimes I do say, like, do you really mean all of these things that are in the card? And he does. He's a sweetie. And he puts up with my...
Martin is very nice.
He's a sweetie. Yeah, and that's the thing. William will either be super extravagant or nothing. There is no middle. So I have to balance
the time, though. Like, always
because he gets very stressed out about all the holidays, so he will either plan or be nothing. So we just, I'm just pretty forgiving.
So I have gotten a call once before, like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, you messed up my bracelet.
I did? We'll talk about it later.
See, I'm gonna call you out because what the listeners may not know is that your husband is always on set with us.
Yeah.
And so I know you kind of tiptoe around it because your man is usually right by us. But when I think about sometime, I always think about you. Like, if there's something that William forgets, and you've mentioned on the show before that William will forget something, I'm not really upset with William when I hear that he forgot something. The person I'm upset with is his sister. Because I'm like, yo, you need to put like a timer. You need like a calendar reminder to be like, brother, it is such and such and such is coming up. Let's get
That's a lot of pressure. I am a sister. I would be
memorize it. My brother's wife.
Exactly.
That's who I would be mad with. I'm just saying.
That's hysterical.
I'm just
It's
saying.
hilarious. If I could tell you all the stuff that I have to remember.
Girl,
I know, we can't put another thing up.
Oh my God.
We're good over here. Okay, so moving on. We could talk for hours about your fitness and your body and how you keep up
And
with
that
yourself.
booty.
Yeah, we can go on and on, but I really want to start.
It is amazing.
she's on
Her
today.
booty is so, like, when she walked in, I saw her from the back, and I wanted to just like pop it up because you know how
You
like
wouldn't be the first.
when you see somebody's booty, I don't touch many booties. I just touch my husband's booty. And he'll try to like tighten it when he knows I'm coming for it, and you know he'll but that booty is so it just looks like you just touch it, it's not gonna move, it's just
It
tight.
still got some movement to it.
I'm sure it does, but it's just tight and up. And every time I see Claudine's booty, I want to like take a moment and do some squats and lunges.
Right. You are aging very well, but I want to go back to your intentional decision to stay home and raise your children, because just from knowing you all these years through social media and seeing you,
And
I
our
know
mommy
that
group.
and the mom group,
Yeah.
I know that was a decision. And a lot of times you hear women say, once I do this and I leave my career, there's nothing left for me once the kids are up and out.
Yeah.
But here comes Claudine with a different story to
Absolutely.
tell.
Oh my goodness.
And I just want to really bring light to the way you have managed to have it all. Not necessarily at the same time, but can you just give us a little story about that?
So a little story about it would be like probably starting again with the communication between my husband and myself, and discussing the idea that maybe we would live on one income in Los Angeles County, which is really a difficult thing to do, right? So my mother-in-law, who is very wise, she suggested that before we ever decide whether or not I'm going to stay home with our children, that we would start living on one income and see if we could do it. So I was working full time, and we were putting away my paychecks, pretending they didn't exist, so that we could try to see if we could survive on one income. And what ended up happening is that, we secured a nice little nest egg. And I didn't really expect this podcast to be talking so much about finances, but
It's life.
so be it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you are going to make a decision like that, which is a huge life-changing decision, a lot of it stems from the priorities you make financially. And so once we realized we could, the harder decision was then telling my full-time job that I wasn't coming back, right? Yeah. So, and
I'm sorry, what did you used to do?
So I was just in corporate publicity marketing. It's kind of like what I've been doing. I have a journalism degree, so that's one of the reasons it's easy for me to use social media, because I have a background in words.
Okay.
So, so with that being said, I went to my job, which was a family-owned business, and I explained to the owner, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to leave my child in the hands of anyone but myself. And he just looked at me and he said, my wife, she was working with the business, and then she had our first son, and she said the exact same thing to me 30 years ago that you're saying to me right now. He said, and I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to her. You're not going to be able to just be home with your kids. He said, I can see that you're a powerhouse. I know you're not. And he was like, so if you ever want to come back, you always have a place here. And that was sweet. Now, rest in peace, he's no longer with us, but and I did not end up going back to work in that capacity. But what I did do, similar to what he said, just me being home with my kid all day, my baby breastfeeding, making homemade baby food, and going to my mommy group at the park, just it was cool. But like, I was like, I had always taught fitness classes on the side. It was something I loved to do. I always made like at least an hour or two a week where I would go and I would teach my fitness class, and people would say, oh, I loved the class. And then I would say, oh, I feel so good. And then I would go to work full time and get my paycheck and pay my bills, right? But once I had my baby, I was like, maybe I could teach a couple classes with my baby and take her to the kids club. And so that's kind of how that whole thing went down. And that's kind of how it transformed into what it is now.
Right. So you've always kept one foot in, basically. So although, you know, your priority is the kids, you have a little bit here and there, and as they get older, you keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. So now where are we today? We're an author.
Yeah, you know, I'm not really good about like, oh, where are we today? Oh, I do this and I do that. But I will say that I really truly believe that my faith in God has helped open doors that I believe I was meant to walk through. So every door that has opened, I have walked through with a certain amount of faith. I have known that I'm going to be covered, whether it turns into a blessing or a lesson. And I've had both.
Wow.
So we were all at-home moms together.
Yeah.
And your story is similar to most of ours. I don't think it wasn't something intentional like yours as far as staying home. But my daughter was sick. She was very sick. And so having the opportunity to stay home and be able to care for her and not be concerned about other people taking care of her was a blessing and a privilege. But I also always felt like I'm going to be ready to get back into it, like my education, my this, my that. And we both have 3 children. And so it would just kind of go for me kind of up and down depending on how things were going with the kids or how things were going with my husband or where we were living and if we could afford for me to stay home. But I think what helped me, especially when I came to LA, when I met you, I was pregnant with my third baby, and it was the support of the mommy groups, and that certainly helped to make it something that wasn't like your boss was saying, like you're not going to just be able to. And so it was nice to be surrounded by other smart, funny, outgoing, welcoming moms to be able to get together, because it can be something that I've certainly been in a place of being resentful. I've certainly been in a place of being overwhelmed and not having what I thought. Like my envision of being this at-home mom was that I was going to have all of this help as far as family was concerned. And it ended up being my girlfriends, my other mommy friends that made that time so much easier.
Can you sidebar the resentment? In thinking of resentment, what comes up for you?
So many things. I was resenting the kids, the man, because there were times when, nobody sits around and saying, "Oh, mommy, thank you for stopping your career." You know, it's an absolute thankless job. You know, and my husband is awesome.
Oh yeah. But
there were certainly times when even there I didn't get the level of appreciation or even feeling like it was equal in the relationship. And so I've certainly resented all of it, but my resentment was never it never outweighed my appreciation. It never outweighed me understanding that I was in a very privileged situation.
Very true.
And I was blessed and fortunate. So my moments of resentment never outweighed all of those other things. And I appreciate so much, because as much of a sacrifice that I made, my husband did too. And even the other day, yesterday actually, he left early in the morning. I don't know what time it was. It could have been 6 o'clock in the morning. He had some morning surgeries on a Saturday, and then he came back home a few hours later, and he'll normally text and say, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
Do you need anything? Can I stop? And so when he just walked in and I was still in the bed like at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning and scrolling, you know, scrolling on my phone, I was like, oh, how you gonna just roll up? You didn't even text me, tell me you were on your way and ask me if I wanted anything. And he said, ask if you wanted anything? I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning going to work so that we could afford for you to be in the bed at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Honey, Princess Dawn, boy, Princess, baby, I could not be married to you. You would be mad at me all the time. Princess Dawn said you didn't ask if I wanted you ripping this. I'm sitting here waiting,
Oh, God.
You didn't ask like if I needed any bacon to make some breakfast. Like, because I did. I was thinking, like, I'd love to get up and make some brunch for the family. But I don't have any bacon.
Okay, so no. I have a whole other question for you. No, because you know I'm going to go there, dog.
Please do.
So your husband's gone. Your husband went to work. You're
He
laying
went
in
and
bed.
removed bunions and
He might have cut somebody's foot off. My
Whatever.
daughter was at work too, mind you.
Daughter at work,
She
husband
took
at
the
work.
bus. She knew not to ask me for a ride.
You're thinking to yourself, maybe I'll make brunch. So let me ask you why at no time you said, let me get up, get in my car, go to the store probably around the corner, buy the bacon, bring it home and fry it up in a pan.
Well, let me tell you, Sister Claudine.
I'm ready.
Let me tell you what I actually planned on doing yesterday.
The
What
back.
didn't
I got it.
happen.
You were gonna
Let
sit
me
in the
tell you,
back.
I planned on being in my car at 7 o'clock in the morning because I saw you posted you was gonna have your class at 8 o'clock, and I said, wow, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go because Claudine's gonna be on the show tomorrow. Let me go get my workout on.
Camila came one of those days.
Oh, I thought you was about to say yesterday.
Oh, no,
I was
yesterday,
about to
but
be
this
upset
weekend was
because I
terrible.
reached out to the whole crew like, let's roll up, let's pull up, let's take the class.
Yeah.
But because they weren't available, and I don't know what happened before my husband left. He could have done something that helped me go back to sleep.
Hard to say. You can't remember. Hard to say.
I can't remember.
But you know you didn't make it to the workout.
I know I did not make it to the workout.
However, this brings me to my next question. Since I am the host of the podcast.
This take of the day.
Please, this is me interviewing the middle-aged mamas, okay? So my next question is, do you feel more motivated? This is for my own data research,
Yes,
by the way.
yes,
For
yes.
the people who are listening, I teach
Absolutely.
fitness classes and I teach free fitness classes.
Right.
I take the barrier out of why you cannot work out,
Make it
right?
free.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for
Just
parking.
roll
All
up.
you have to do is show up. You can
Yes.
wear whatever you want. You can bring your kids, your grandma, your mama, whoever.
Right.
Do you feel more motivated to go to the workout, mine, anyone's, if you have company, friends?
Yes.
Yes.
No, not me.
I
I'll
do.
roll by myself any day of the week.
Well, I'll go by myself,
Yeah.
period.
But
but
more motivated? Well, if it's
but
a
I am
distance
motivated
thing,
when
then
there's when there's other people to go, and and there's also the incentive that it pushes you to go too.
Right.
If so and so is gonna go, she's probably not gonna not go. Then I'll go with her too.
Right.
I like
support.
a crew. I like a crew. I like to roll up with my crew. I've always been that way. I've always, well, for one, it would be easier if you weren't so far away. That's the other.
Well,
that's the other
obviously,
thing. Like that, because I was like, ooh, I think.
And
when
for
I
the
work-
people who are listening,
yes,
we live a 405 freeway drive
away,
away from
yeah, which makes it difficult.
and it's really 30 minutes
with zero traffic.
Yeah.
absolutely
So
zero
Saturday morning, you
traffic.
can get there with no traffic. And
Oh,
I've been getting my
no.
walk done a little bit at the class.
But that traffic is mean.
Mm.
But what I've been doing lately, even if I'm just walking in my neighborhood, I have a girlfriend that I've been hiking with. We do the Reseda Trail, but she's afraid of dogs, and she complains the whole way. Hey, girl,
She knows who she is.
Like, I was a tad embarrassed when she picked up this little stick when this dog came. I was like, ooh, maybe not. So I have a lot of hills in my neighborhood that I've discovered, and it's like a hike, but it's paved. There aren't any dogs. So I said, how about you meet me at my house?
Yeah.
And then that way you won't try.
Well, then this brings me to my next question.
Yes.
So, for workouts, you like to have a partner, accountability partner, crew, friend, whatever. So, what about, do you guys take yourselves out on dates? Like, do you go out to eat by yourselves? Do you?
Oh, yes.
I used to do that a lot when I was younger. I haven't lately. Like, since I've had children, or my son, I haven't. But I used to do that when I was younger.
Well, my date is usually in the car by myself. Like that 10 minutes before you have to walk in the door.
Luxurious.
Yeah, nobody's going to ask,
Yeah.
can I have some
Quiet
tickets?
time.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I do. I will definitely, I'll go to the movies by myself. I'll go to a coffee shop. I love a good library date. I love to just sit and flip through
Pour over
pages.
the books.
Yes. So I do dates. I do solo dates for sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the community workouts because that is just huge.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that? And
I didn't
being a
really come
mother
up with
and
it, to
everything
be
else?
honest. So, you know, like I said before, my faith is really my driving force behind everything I do. But when I started, you know, just to rewind a little bit, when I did pick my classes back up, because I started teaching classes in my 20s and I'm almost 50. So it's been 31 years that I've been working in the gym. And so the gym for me feels like home. That's like, I walk in a gym, I could walk in your gym and no one bothers me. It's like I belong in the gym.
So it's like your cheers, right?
Exactly.
Oh.
And so it wasn't like my intention to teach free classes, but I had always worked at a gym that was inexpensive to a degree because it's a passion of mine to show up for people who are not in the most, like, you know, highest socioeconomic status, right? I could have been a trainer to people in Hollywood and Beverly Hills. People say, Claudine, why you don't train celebrities? I'm really for the regular person. Like, that's what I do it for. I do it so that those of us who live in neighborhoods just like this one can have access to people like me who are passionate about their work, right? Especially in the field of health and wellness, because we don't have as many resources. So for years, I worked in this neighborhood. I taught classes at the gyms where the memberships are $20 a month or, you know, pretty low. So I've technically always been really teaching for free because the paychecks were damn near like I was teaching for free, okay? But I was doing it because I love it. You know, it started out as like, I'm just going to go back and teach a couple classes a week and put my kid in the daycare while I teach my, and then they're like, Claudine, do you want to pick up another class? Okay. Next thing I know, I got 10 classes, right? But a woman sent me a private message on Facebook and she was like, Claudine, I love your class at the gym, but times got tight and I had to cut my gym membership. Now, all of us have been in a place where we've had to cut certain things out of our budgets, right? And because of what I come from, my humble beginnings, I definitely have been in situations where I couldn't afford certain things, right? And so I felt that in such a way. But I still wasn't like, yeah. She was like, do you teach any free workouts? Could I get a free training session, a free one-on-one? People always ask me about one-on-one. I don't do one-on-one. What camera do I need to look at? So with that being said, when she sent me the private message, I was like, oh, girl, I don't do no free training. No. Even though I wasn't really making any money, I still wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach a free class. But there were two things. I went to church that day. The pastor was like, all of us have a God-given gift and we're supposed to share our gifts and we're not supposed to ask for what's coming to us because God takes care of his. I was like, I'm convicted. Okay. I literally went in the parking lot and like sent her a message and was like, my kids have sports practice at this park at this time. I'll do a free workout at, you know, while they're at practice. So it was right here in Eaglewood, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, that was part one. But part two, I forgot that I had read a book in the 1990s, or as my kids like to say, the 1900s.
The 1900s.
Why did they do that to us?
Back
back in the 1900s, I read this book called The Purpose-Driven
Oh, I
Life.
read that one.
Yes.
And it says, what would you do for free?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I already know I'm doing a job already that the paycheck barely puts gas in my car to get me to the gym and back. So I already know what I would do for free. Then the girl's like, oh, I ran into some tough times. I'm like, okay, God, you're moving me. And every time I've been moved, every time a door has opened, every time a request has come in on Facebook, I always stop for a second. I always pray it in. I always think about it. And then I act. And I think the difference between me, you asked me, so you left your full-time career, you did this. One thing is I'm very intentional. I'm not, when I'm moving, I'm knowing I'm moving. When I'm being moved, I know I'm being moved. When I'm in a dark season, I know I'm being moved, even in those times. So when I got to church and I got the message and she had sent the Facebook message and all that, I was like, all right, something's happening. And I felt it and I didn't know what, and I could have never in my wildest dreams imagined it would be what it is right now. And, you know, so I don't know how to explain what it is, but what it is now is decades of multi-generational members of the community who have exercised with me, their children, their grandchildren, the parents. I mean, I couldn't have dreamed a bigger dream for myself.
On average, how many people do you think you have like a session?
So
I know it varies, but
it does. In an average week, I touch and teach approximately 500 people.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
And weren't you in the garage a couple weeks ago because of rain?
I
I mean, you were
every
just,
year.
that's the
You
difference
make it
between the
happen.
in your
average.
garage in your community?
No,
but what happened
so
was,
fine.
so at our
Oh.
community workout, it's an outdoor workout.
Yeah, that's the one I
We've
came
been-
to. Yeah.
When it started raining on us, that poses a
Oh, that's right.
right. So that poses a safety concern.
Yeah.
And as a trainer, you're always thinking about, I don't want anyone to fall.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want anyone to get hurt out here. So I'm like, where can I take? I'm looking around like parking garage.
Yes.
Covered parking garage.
Yeah.
We
And
moved-
nobody really parks in there.
goodness.
So
No, it
it's
Yes.
was good. It was fine. It worked out.
But that is the difference between Claudine and the average middle-aged
Yeah.
mom. We're
Because I
just
wanna
like,
be
oh,
like,
we
let's
went back.
go.
It's
I
time
guess
to
it's
go.
not
It's time to go.
Yeah. They would have left.
You are just nonstop with everything you do. Where did that come from? Is that how you grew up? Where did all this come from? And your passion to just keep moving.
I don't think of it like that, Nakia. I don't think of it as, so you're saying most people would say, oh, it's raining, let's cancel the workout, it's time for everyone to go home.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%.
Right.
At least 90%.
So I don't necessarily think of it as me having this keep it moving energy. I think of it more like me being resilient because I feel like it presents itself in these different ways. And I mean, just think like I got in a car and I drove by myself across country with no job here. I didn't know anybody. I didn't come out here like, oh yes, I'm gonna start working at this company and I'm gonna blah blah blah. No, I just was like, I'm gonna make it do what it do. It's the way, it's just something, I don't know. It's trauma. That's it. It's trauma. And I'm reading and researching and learning a lot about trauma right now. And I have dedicated my life the last 5 years to researching trauma because I'm very mindful of the community that I serve and wanting to show up for them in the most informed way possible. But when I started researching trauma, I recognized that actually I'm researching it for myself.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
deep.
And that being said, growing up in some tough circumstances, I learned how to rely heavily on myself, how to protect myself, how to keep my head on a swivel, how to stay above ground, how to stand 10 toes down. And I've been doing that ever since. And I do it for my community, I do it for my family, I do it for my husband. It's just how I roll.
Okay, so how are you parenting? Because that has made you to be this extraordinary person, and obviously you don't want to intentionally give your children trauma, but how are you pulling the grit out of them?
It's hard. I read something recently that said a person with a tough life gives their child a soft life.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the child gets the soft life
Right.
and then ends up giving their child the tough life.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's any good answer to that. I have given my children a pretty soft life. That was intentional as well. But yeah, I don't want to give them trauma.
Right.
So I'm happy for the grit. I'm happy for the resilience. I'm happy for the strength, the loyalty, the laws of the streets that I abide by. But I don't want them to have.
But just in practical ways, like, you know, you're gonna take the trash out even though, you know, it's cold outside, things like that. You're gonna learn how to get your permit. Like
basically, this is probably I'll sum up my parenting in a quick little snippet, right? So the other day, my daughter called me. I don't bother my kids. I don't be on them. I'm not like, where you at? What you doing? Give me your location. Let me see what you got on your mind or your soul. Where you at? Who you with? Blah, blah, blah. I don't do that, okay? Not rolling like that. If I got to do that, I didn't do my job. So basically, my daughter was out and about. She was going somewhere. I didn't even know exactly where she was going. Next thing I know, she's calling me talking about, I had to shake the spot, Mom. It wasn't feeling right. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how I parent.
Yeah.
How do you feel? What's your inner voice saying to you? You work with your discernment, because in the end, I'm not always going to be with you. In the end, I don't know when my last day on this earth is going to be, and I need my children to have the tools to listen to that voice, to know that they're in danger, to leave. So I tell them all the time, I don't care if it feels funny. I don't care if it feels shady. I don't care if you just can't put your finger on it. Get up and go.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. It's 2024. We're not worried about who's offended. We're not pleasing people. We're getting up out of there. Period. And that's what she called me, like, I got up out of there. I was like, so what you about to do? She was like, I'm about to take myself out to dinner. I did my job.
Right. See, that's what I wanted to get to. Exactly. Because nowadays it's, what is it? The 360 app and tracking this and, you know, so much on top of our kids that they don't even know how to function in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
So hearing that is very encouraging. And
well, that's fear-based parenting.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of this that we're talking about is talking about living from a place of fear. A lot of the reason people don't walk through the doors that are being opened for them is typically from fear. So parenting from fear, marriage from fear, not reaching your fullest potential from fear, not coming to my workout from fear.
Yeah.
People be like, oh, you're gonna beat me up.
You gonna hurt me.
My right knee hurts and my shoulder's been giving me trouble.
Yes.
Bring your ass.
And my knees.
Right. But you're also going to get that side of the workout too, where you're talking and motivating, all that stuff.
Yeah, because she is very motivated when she's working out. I know the last time that I went to the workout and she was talking about, is there anyone out here who had an unexpected something come up, and I'm working this out with you guys right now. So she was talking us through it and also kicking our asses while we were running up and down the court and doing all of that stuff.
Yeah, because there's more to just the physical, the mental,
it's
all
mental
that.
too.
During quarantine time is where I spend the most time I have with you, because she would constantly go online and bring people, you know, together, and that was the main focus. William would come in like, who are you listening to? Who are you talking to? Why are you in the dark? Why are you in the dark? I was like, oh, it's Claudine. She's bringing us out. But during that time, you basically brought the podcast to life, because you said the whole fear thing, you know, do something different, step out. Why do you want to live the same way forever? Just all those things.
I was on your head.
Oh yeah,
I was on your head, and look at the podcast now. We got a full production. Listen, everybody can't see, but we got lights, camera, action. We got producers and audience members. It's great.
Right.
This
So
is beautiful.
what you are doing really does make a difference, even in the life of a middle-aged mother. You don't have to be just a kid, but you can reinvent yourself. You can grow gracefully. You can embrace your grays. That's constantly a conversation. you're one of those ones that don't care.
I could care less. And honestly,
It's beautiful.
Thank you. But I was listening to you guys say like, oh, well, like, how does this shirt make me look? Well, I'm like, shoot, the content is the key here, right?
Yes.
Don't matter. You could come on here looking like whatever. You just rolled out the bed. What you're bringing to the podcast is the value, what you have to say, your wisdom, everything you've been through. This is why people are listening to the middle-aged mamas, because let's be honest, girls. Let's be honest. We have passed the I'm gonna be an Instagram model phase.
Right? So that speaks to our debate, our constant debate.
The hat.
So yes. And so
it don't matter.
now I think, and that's one of the reasons it was so easy for me to go gray, is because I was like not resting in my vanity, right? Like, oh, I need to be so beautiful. I need to still look like I did when I was 25 or whatever, whatnot. I know the value I bring to the world. I could be old, I could be gray, I could have a debilitating accident, and I still know what I bring and what's in me.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Really is.
You know, when I think about your outside workouts, one thing that stands out for me was when Oprah rolled up on you
Crazy.
at the fore. I want to hear about like how
That wasn't really me, to be honest with you. I was
that was
being
the Lord.
that was definitely the Lord.
That wasn't a planned thing.
That was not
No.
a
She rolled up on you.
I swear, you guys, that was not a planned thing. That I had no idea. I knew she was coming to her show. She was on this tour. It was called the 2020 Vision Tour. It was right before she was going to have the show the next day.
Yeah.
Someone just called me and was like, and maybe this is a good kind of like talking point, right? Is like, she called me, and everyone here is busy. I know you're busy, and I know you're busy. And she was like, a friend of mine, she says, Claudine, some of the producers over at the wellness event that Oprah's going to do tomorrow just want to capture people working out in the neighborhood. And since you are the workout lady of the neighborhood, just felt like it was just right to call you if you want to come out. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon. Girl, 2:00 in the afternoon. I got kids to pick up. I got sports practice to go.
It was a weekday.
It was on a
It was a
weekday.
weekday. Okay.
I was like, I can't make that. That's the inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And how many of us are presented with any opportunity? Don't matter. They didn't say, "Oh, Claudine, Oprah's going to be there, honey. I'll have somebody. The man on the moon can pick my kids up."
Right.
Oprah's going to be where now?
Right.
That's right.
You're gonna learn how to take the bus today.
On today.
That's funny.
Yes.
So no, they did not say that. They just said they want to get some B-roll of some people exercising outside. You can come, you can not come. Whatever. So my inner dialogue is, I can't come. I'm a mom. I got 100 things to do, and I got to teach class. But to tell you that inner dialogue is what I stop. Every time I go up against it, I know that that's not the spirit of walking with faith. So as soon as she said that, as soon as she was like, you can come, or, you can if you can. If you can't, you can't. There's going to be some other people there. I was like, I can. I didn't know how I can. I didn't know what was going to happen. But let me tell you how it went. My friend from school, from PTA, said, "Hey girl, can your son have a play date after school today?" I didn't call her, didn't ask her. This is what I'm talking about.
That's the Lord.
This is how things open up for me. I say yes, doors open wide open.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. Then my other kids, they're older. They know how to get their way home. But it was my younger child that I was most concerned with, right? So once she called to say that she was going to pick up my kid and all that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going. As I'm driving, I get a deposit, or like, y'all watch AJ on the internet and nobody else watch AJ?
No.
Oh, okay, my bad. So this lady, I will after the show. But one thing she always says is, I got a download. I got a download.
Mm.
So I got a download. I was like, Oprah's gonna be there. I got a download. So anyways, it was in my spirit. So when she came, I already knew how I was going to get the words that I wanted to say out quickly. That's a big thing for me. I don't like to use up too much time. So as soon as she comes out, first thing I say is, you were the parental figure I needed when I didn't have that.
Wow.
That's all I wanted to share with her, her impact. Because honestly, I believe if anyone has impacted your life in any way, you owe it to them to give it to them while you can. And
I'm getting chills. Absolutely.
you owe it to them.
Absolutely.
So to me, as long as I said that, I could just go on about my day. But we ended up having a full-blown conversation about what I do in the community, about the workout. She told me, she said, keep doing what you're doing and you will see so much is going to happen for you. She was like, service is the way.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So who pours into you?
Oprah.
We know God leads you, but who pours into Claudine?
Oh no, I have a huge sister circle. You guys know I love connecting with my girlfriends. Like you guys, we all know each other from the moms groups and stuff like that. But you know, on just like a day-to-day level, I just feel like I have these trusted advisors, people who I connect with that I consider to be mentors, confidants. Typically people who are much older than me. I'm an old soul, so I like, you know, my favorite age group is, you know, somewhere in the late 60s, early 70s.
The
And I just,
wisdom.
sit at the feet of the elders.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's- yeah.